I'm Chris Merrill. He is Joe Huizinga. And news. Ready, Joe? I've got breaking news.
Yeah.
I don't think Becky Lynn even knows this yet. Breaking news,
What?
BL.
What?
Aren't we supposed to have a fancy,
No.
bum,
No. There's not even time for a fancy bum. Arizona gets hot in the summer. Whoa! Stop the presses!
Why did nobody tell me?
You would have thought somebody would have said something.
Mentioned it.
No one's ever said anything about this before.
Okay, hold on, man.
Yeah.
So, everybody knows. What in the world?
Everybody knows what?
I heard a funky noise.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Arizona gets hot in the summer.
Yeah.
But if you haven't lived in Arizona,
Oh, yes. Good point.
you don't know. Like, yeah, hot is like, yeah, I know it's 100 degrees.
Yeah.
But I don't know what that feels like.
Yeah.
I could be
So
from.
you think people don't know how hot it gets?
Or they don't know how that actually feels.
Right.
You and I, we grew up in Michigan.
Yes.
And that is a very different summer heat
That
than
is
the
true.
Arizona summer heat.
Yes.
And I don't know what I don't know. I've never spent any time in Montana.
It's a great question. Let's. Who do we have that we can survey here?
Well, Becky Lynn grew up in Tennessee, I believe.
Okay, Becky Lynn.
Is
you
that
had
like
ice-
Montana?
No, they had ice storms and such in Tennessee.
Yes.
Okay, but Becky Lynn, let's just suppose that we're taking and we're doing the KTAR on the road, sponsored by our favorite travel agency.
Okay.
This space for rent, by the way. We're more than welcome to go on a trip sponsored by a travel agency. And let's say that they're going to send us to Alaska. All right?
Okay.
Becky Lynn, going to Alaska.
Yep.
And they say, we're going to go during a cold period. First of all, you probably opt out. But if they say it's going to be, some places will have a high of 5 degrees, right, and a low of minus 30, would you think light spring jacket?
Probably not.
No?
Probably would not own enough coats or
Right.
layers. I would think layers.
Layers.
Big, plenty of layers.
Now, in Tennessee, I do know that temperatures would get to 100 degrees, right?
Oh, they could, yes.
Okay, yeah. So if
They
you...
can also get to
Sure.
0.
Of course, right, yeah. If you're coming to Arizona from Tennessee and you know what 100 feels like, would it stand to reason that 115 feels much worse?
One would think it would.
I would think so,
yeah,
Joe.
that's 15 whole degrees more. Yes.
Right. It's kind of like me this week because I'm not a big fan of the heat. There is nothing better than the Arizona winter. It is glorious.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, but when it hit, 80 here recently, right? And I just look and I go, ugh. It's already like, I go, okay, I'm starting to feel, if you're in the sun, you're feeling it. And I go, we have 35 more degrees to go, at least. Ugh. And I start to dread these things. But you're saying people just don't realize how hot it really is.
I am saying that they also need some tips. Yeah.
Okay.
That they don't realize all this stuff. Like every year, Chris, we have somebody who goes hiking in July who gets out there and doesn't carry enough water.
Okay, this is one of those situations. You know, we have the during the monsoon we have the stupid motorist rule. You know, where if you,
We've talked about stupid hiker rules.
I think there absolutely should be a stupid hiker rule.
But I guarantee you there are people who go out
Now,
and
I'm not
hike.
talking about somebody that twists an ankle and suddenly they have to. Nope, that's understandable. I'm talking about I'm going to go hiking on Camelback Mountain in the middle of the day.
Yep.
Right?
And people just don't realize it.
Okay.
It's like driving into that water.
Just
you
don't
can't see the bottom.
No.
You just don't know.
There ought to be a law.
The monsoon, man, people just don't know about it sometimes.
So somebody from Montana moved to Phoenix, and they went to Reddit because they wanted to out themselves as being a total goober. And they said, how do I deal with the heat? I came here from a cold place, and I'm scared, LMAO. That's laughing my arse off. So how do you tell somebody from Montana how to deal with the heat? Suggestions were things like, don't leave anything in your car.
Ever.
Keep your car cool.
But people do forget stuff in their car, man. I mean, how many people are like, oh, I left my chapstick in there? Or, oh, I went into the store and I bought a candle.
Right.
And then I went into another store and I came out an hour later and my car smelled amazing.
Right. I lose more kittens that way.
Or somebody who's like, hey, what? Oh, Chris. Animals? Really?
There is a law against
Do
that.
better. There's a law against that, Chris.
I know there is. There should be.
Or the genius who like buys an energy drink and leaves it in their car, and then winds up with a polka dot colored headliner in their car that cannot be.
Now, how does that happen? Is it?
I'm not
does
a
it start to boil?
scientist, but it explodes. It hits the roof of your car.
Does that happen? I've never had a can of soda do that.
Yeah, there was somebody who pointed out that they had an energy drink in their back seat explode, and they were left with a beautiful polka dotted headliner
Ew.
that can't get detailed out.
All right. So the advice is don't leave anything in your car. Mm-hmm. Keep your car cool. Mm-hmm. Don't touch anything, including your steering wheel.
But keep your car cool doesn't just mean like turn the AC on.
Is there any advice that isn't vehicle related?
No bare feet?
Okay. All right.
How about change your schedule?
Okay. If
So,
possible.
Work
Right.
before the sun comes up and after the sun goes down.
Yes. All right.
How about make sure to have water? Again, that one ties right in with the hiking. And really, it's anywhere you go
Again,
in Arizona, have water.
If you're going to Alaska, you bring a coat. If you're going to Arizona, you make sure you've got water. Just seems obvious to me.
Now, I'm going to say this, and you're going to say that I'm making...
How did this person even log on to Reddit in the first place? Like, how does the flashy monitor work? I don't understand.
You're going to assume I'm making a crack about your size over there, but I mean, you like to eat.
I have been known to partake.
One of these tips was...
It is Good Friday.
Avoid a
I
hot...
did wipe out the entire communion plate. Yeah, that happened.
Avoid a hot
They
kitchen.
said this is the body of Christ. I was like, let me have the other half.
Love the sound effects.
Yeah.
Avoid a hot kitchen.
Okay, that
Eat
makes sense.
cooler foods. So no soups in the summer, perhaps. Eat cooler foods
gazpacho.
like salads instead of hot foods that'll heat up your kitchen. So you're keeping your house cooler too. And use a crock pot or an air fryer.
Okay. If you have to have something warm, right?
Yeah, and more sandwich.
More sandwiches.
Than soup.
Okay.
And my favorite, hibernate.
What
I
does
wish
that
I
mean?
could just do that all the time. That means just stay inside.
This is when I first started dating my wife. Before I moved to Arizona, the first of the 3 times I've
hibernated?
done it. I meet my mother-in-law, who's crazy. And I said, how do you deal with that heat? She goes, it ain't so bad. You just go from the house to the car and the car to work and from work to the car and the car to the house.
Where was mother-in-law from with
She's
that?
from Southern Illinois.
Oh.
Yeah, which is like a sweet Tennessee accent plus an Arkansas goofy accent. Yeah, you get all of it
Okay.
in there.
Anybody that anyone thinks is an idiot always has a Southern accent. Have you ever noticed that?
Listen,
Just saying.
Becky Lynn, it did not sound like your accent, which is sweet and lovely.
I'm
It
just
is.
saying.
It sounded...
no
people
one gets
all-
nobody
would-
gets the sweet Upper Tennessee Valley accent. No, they're getting an Alabama, Arkansas. But my mother-in-law is Southern Illinois, and she says it ain't that bad. It ain't that bad.
It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. Yeah, it gets down to 90 at night.
Is this the same mother-in-law who had the tattoo advice
Yes.
on where not to go?
Yes, the same mother-in-law who asked for a Speedy Gonzalez tattoo. The tattoo artist did not know who that was. And she said, it's that Mexican rat with the sombrero. And so he drew a Mexican rat with a sombrero tattoo on her ankle. It looks like Slowpoke Rodriguez. And it's brilliant. It's the most wonderful thing I've ever seen.
That would be an indication to me to find a new shop.
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.